I have in my hand here an article from the New York Times that's titled Market Continues Its Retreat After a Weak Jobs Report. And we're seeing a lot of economic data coming out that shows the economy is slowing. And in this week's blogs, I want to talk to you not only about some of this data that proves the economy is slowing, but also talk to you about why the economy is slowing. First, let me give you just a little bit from the article. United States and global stock indices moved lower a second day on Wednesday after a dismal report on job creation gave investors concern over the state of the economy. A survey by the payroll processor ADP showed American companies had hired workers at the slowest pace in 3 years last month. ADP said private companies hired 156,000 workers. That was during the month of April, down from 194,000 in March, and that number was significantly worse than was expected. The weak reading bodes poorly for the broader job market survey due Friday from the Labor Department, one of the most closely watched reports on the economic calendar. Economists expect the government to report that employers created 200,000 jobs last month, and the unemployment rate held steady at 5%. Well, how can fewer jobs be created? How can the jobs numbers not look very good? And how can the unemployment rate remain steady? And the answer is that a lot of the economic data that we see reported today, believe it or not, has been manipulated. Can you believe that politicians in Washington would actually manipulate the way economic data is reported? Hard to believe. Yes, that's exactly what's happening. If you want a better measure of the true employment picture, you need to look at the labor force participation rate. You see, when calculating the unemployment rate, if you're not looking for a job anymore, you're frustrated. So you're so frustrated you've dropped out of the labor force. You're no longer counted among those that are unemployed, even if you're not working. If you work part-time sometime during the last month, and you really want to work full-time, or you really want to work more, you're not counted among those that are unemployed. When we look at the labor force participation rate, we get an entirely different picture. The civilian labor force participation rate in the United States has declined from 65.7% in January of 2009 to 63% as of March of 2016. So during this period of recovery, during this period of time when the stock market rose really trough to peak, bottom to top, about 200%, the labor force participation rate has declined nearly 3%. That's 3% more folks not in the workforce. That's the answer. That's why the data doesn't necessarily reflect what it actually feels like. The same could be said of the inflation rate measure. Those of you that are collecting Social Security know that last year there was no increase in your Social Security benefits for a cost of living adjustment. That means no official inflation. And yet, if you went to the doctor's office or the grocery store, you know that's not true. That's because the way the inflation rate is calculated has also been changed, or to use a word that sounds a little bit harsh, manipulated over the years. I'll be back in just a couple days with a second video blog update for this week to talk to you about